We spend so much time looking at animal behavior. But what if, like, some of our assumptions are just totally off? Today's deep dive throws us right into that with this research paper I was reading called Shy Snails and $100 Bills.
Yeah, it's
What?
it's a research paper from the University of Northwest South Florida. And, it really caught my eye because it kind of challenges how we think about how animals see the world
Mm-hmm.
using a very unique study subject.
Right off the bat, that title alone, Shy Snails and $100 Bills, I was like, okay, I got to know more.
Yeah.
So walk us through this. What is the story of these snails and Benjamins?
So researchers were initially looking at the behavior of these snails. They're officially called Helix timiditas in environments with different stimuli, including money. And they started to see a pattern. Anytime you had $100 bills present, the snails seemed to get, how do I put this delicately? Let's just say they exhibited behavior consistent with increased arousal.
Okay, so was it the allure of wealth? Like,
Yeah.
maybe these snails in past lives were aspiring entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
Come
it's a
on.
tempting explanation.
Right.
But we are talking about snails here.
Sure.
One early theory that they had was that it might be the cocaine.
Oh.
Because, a lot of times bills have traces of cocaine on them.
Yeah.
So they thought maybe that was a trigger. To
Interesting.
test that, they got really methodical.
So they didn't just like wave a $20 bill in front of a snail and call it a day.
No, they did not.
Okay.
They used very carefully sterilized bills
Okay.
to eliminate any outside factors, including any of those extracurricular substances.
Mm-hmm.
And then they even introduced some bills that they specifically chose because they had a lot of cocaine on them.
Oh, wow. So
They
wait.
wanted to see what would happen.
Okay. Were there any like tiny Wall Street tycoons that came out of this?
Surprisingly, no.
Okay.
What they found was that the snails that were exposed to the sterilized bills reacted in the same way as those exposed to the cocaine bills.
Oh.
The cocaine, or lack thereof, had no noticeable effect.
So it wasn't just the money itself then.
Yeah.
It had to be something else about that $100 bill that was getting these snails going.
This is where the research gets really remarkable.
Okay.
It wasn't just about the money.
Okay.
It was specifically Benjamin Franklin
What do you say?
on the $100 bill.
These snails have a thing for like founding fathers, like they're secret history buffs just hiding in those shells.
It's probably not historical appreciation.
Right.
I mean,
Of course.
again, we're talking about snails here.
Yeah.
But the researchers tested other denominations.
Okay.
They tested other historical figures on the money.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing came close.
Oh.
It was only Benjamin Franklin.
So that's oddly specific.
Yes.
Like, what do they say about that?
So they dug a little deeper, and this is where the visual element gets really important.
Okay.
They realized that older versions of the $100 bill,
Mm-hmm.
with a smaller portrait of Franklin,
Yeah.
didn't seem to have the same effect.
So size matters.
Yeah.
They're all about the big, bold Ben Franklin.
It seems that way.
This is wild.
Okay, so what could it be about that image?
Well, that is where the daddy issues come in.
Daddy issues? Did you just say these snails have daddy issues?
Remember how the paper's called Shy Snails and $100 Bills?
Yeah.
These snails, particularly those that were raised in isolation,
Uh-huh.
exhibited behavior that's consistent with what we might call,
Okay.
For lack of a better term,
Mhm.
attachment seeking.
Okay.
The researchers called it daddy issues.
Okay. Okay, I gotta admit, the idea of snails having daddy issues is hilarious and fascinating at the same time.
Yeah.
But how does this all connect, like, scientifically?
So picture this, you're a snail,
Right.
and you're looking up at this big round image of Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
What they realized is that the shape of his head, the shading, that big forehead,
Mhm.
to a snail,
Yeah.
might look like a big snail.
Yeah.
You're saying these snails are mistaking Ben Franklin for like a giant
Like a giant daddy snail.
daddy snail. I never thought I'd say that sentence.
It's definitely an unusual concept.
Yes.
But it kind of makes sense when you think about it.
Okay.
Snails, especially the ones that were raised alone, maybe they're instinctively drawn to those shapes.
Nah.
Almost like a misfiring of their instincts.
So are we saying that snails understand human currency? Like, is there a secret snail society out there trading Ben Franklins?
Probably not.
Okay, good.
But I think this research points to something a lot bigger.
Okay.
It makes us rethink how animals see the world.
Yeah.
This isn't just your basic stimulus and response anymore.
Right.
These snails might be showing us a very basic kind of symbolic recognition,
Wow.
responding to what that image means to them, even if it's a total misinterpretation.
Huh. That's a really interesting thought.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what other weird animal behaviors we see
Yeah.
that could actually have like really complex explanations.
Exactly. And it shows us why it's so important to approach the natural world with an open mind,
Right.
you know? Always be curious.
Absolutely. There's always something new to learn.
Always.
Well, I learned a lot in this deep dive. Cocaine on money, snail psychology. Who knew Ben Franklin was so popular?
It's amazing what you find.
It really is. And for our listeners, we'll leave you with this. Could other animals experience this kind of symbolic misrecognition? What other strange and amazing discoveries are waiting for us in the animal world?
So much out there.
Keep those questions in mind, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive.